Parlays, player props, and predictions are back for week 7 in the NFL. Today, I got my 4 favorite player props, a Moneyline Parlay, an Underdog Fantasy Parlay, and a first touchdown score for Sunday Night Football, Dolphins versus Steelers. I appreciate you for tuning in. My name's Austin from Calling Our Shot. I had a pretty good start to this season so far for player props, and we went 6-3 last week. We'll take that. We're also 1-0 on the week thanks to Alvin Kamara on Thursday Night Football, and let's just hope for another profitable Sunday in the NFL. Now, if you're new, smash that subscribe button down below. If you haven't done it, what are you doing? Go down below. It takes a second. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button too. Trying to get to 50,000 subscribers by the end of the year. I have faith in you guys. Now, if you want to check out my favorite spread picks, you can definitely go check out this video. The thumbnail looks identical to this one. You can go follow it. It'll be linked at the end of the video and in the pinned comment section down below. Get my 3 favorite spread picks of this weekend. And we've been doing pretty good on spreads so far. My last note, this video is sponsored by Underdog Fantasy. If you don't know what Underdog Fantasy is, allow me to introduce them to you. Just a free app. You can just place your player prop parlays on there, and if you sign up using our code COS or the link in the description, you get a 100% deposit match. They'll match whatever amount of money you put in there up to $100. Take advantage of an underdog parlay at the end of this video. Let's get into my favorite player prop of the weekend, a 1.5 unit play. Deebo Samuel. We're taking his over 58.5 receiving yards, minus 115 on BetMGM. Now, last week, we took this identical prop, and Deebo treated us nicely, cashing out in the fourth quarter, but that was a bad game for the 49ers. Deebo had 7 receptions for 79 yards, although he was stuck at like 21 receptions late into the fourth quarter, but ended up getting it done. You look at Deebo over the last 4 games, all of which Jimmy Garoppolo has started, 8, 7, 9, and 10 targets. So they're seeing a bunch of targets, and he's actually had 6+ targets every single game this season. We know Jimmy Garoppolo is going to throw the football, and he's going to throw it to probably Deebo Samuel, large part. And Deebo Samuel targeted 6+ times in 27 games in his career. He's at this over in 21 of those 27 games. So I love the sample size. I think Deebo Samuel is going to see 6+ targets as they play the Kansas City Chiefs on Sunday night. Or not on Sunday night. I believe there's a Sunday afternoon game. But look, Kansas City's going to be able to score the football. They're going to be able to score points playing against the 49ers' banged-up defense. While the 49ers probably keep this game closer than people might expect, I think the Chiefs are going to have to throw the ball, and we're going to see the 49ers have to throw the ball too. They're not going to be able to run it nonstop. I know they got Christian McCaffrey back now, but look, they're not going to be able to run it that much. And still, the Chiefs have actually been decent on the ground. But in the air, they're allowing the 27th fewest or 6th most passing yards in the league. And like I said, when Jimmy Garoppolo steps back, it's going to large in part go to Deebo Samuel. I don't see Christian McCaffrey playing a big role in this game. I saw them maybe involve him in the red zone, but I'm not worried about that. Deebo Samuel, I think he has a pretty good game. Ask him to get 60+ receiving yards is not a lot. This guy could break off a 60-yard catch and run. That's how talented he is. Give me Deebo Samuel, favorite player prop of the weekend, 1.5 units, over 58.5 receiving yards. Now, let's move on. And speaking of Christian McCaffrey, let's go to his ex-team, the Panthers. I'm taking DJ Moore over 4.5 receptions, plus 100 on DraftKings. Now, I leaned his over in receiving yards, but look, the Panthers are allergic to throwing the ball down the field, and I think DJ Moore is one of the more talented NFL players, and especially on this offense that the Panthers got. Now, look, they got Christian McCaffrey out of there. What are they going to do on offense? Your answer is as good as mine, but Moore has had a disappointing start to his year. This is a guy that had like 1,100 yards in 3 straight seasons. Disappointing to say the least, but we are 1-0 betting his overs this season. Make it 2-0. Now, Moore has only 5+ receptions in 1 of 6 games this year. That's not great, but he has seen 11, 8, and 7 targets the last 2 weeks. He's PJ Walker's favorite and only target really out there, and I just think they're going to have to get him the ball. We saw last year when DJ Moore was playing without Christian McCaffrey, which is obviously what he's doing on Sunday. We saw him playing a lot of those shorter rolls, those out of the backfield routes, those whip routes, all those sort of things, and they're just trying to get the ball into his hands, kind of like what they did with CMC last week, where we saw Panthers get McCaffrey 7 receptions. DJ Moore had 7 targets, only 3 receptions in that game, but this is a team against the Buccaneers, a team that DJ Moore has owned. Despite inconsistent QB play throughout his whole career, he's hit this over in 5 of his last 6 games versus the Buccaneers, and ultimately, I think with Tom Brady and the Buccaneers, they'll be able to put up some points. We'll need PJ Walker and the Panthers to throw the football, asking DJ Moore to get 5 receptions. They could be 5 screenplays. I don't care if he has 5 receptions for 3 yards. I think DJ Moore has a good chance, and it's plus 100. Sign me up. I think the Panthers need to throw him the ball. I think they're going to get him going, even if they want to trade him next week. Now, let's move on to another running back. Well, actually, we haven't talked about a running back yet, but he's the guy on the thumbnail. Saquon Barkley. We're taking his over 25.5 receiving yards, minus 115 on DraftKings. Now, Saquon, congrats, man. Happy to see him healthy. Everyone loves seeing Saquon. I mean, he's one of the most electric players to watch in the NFL. But his receiving yards line has been a constant roller coaster. And what do I mean by that? Well, week 1, he went over. Week 2, under. Week 3, over. 4, under. 5, over. 6, under. Well, week 7's here. by law, he's kind of got to go over. But not only that, we're not just riding this trend, although sometimes trends do work out like that. The Jaguars' opponent on Sunday, very good at stopping the run. They actually have only allowed the third fewest rushing yards per game in the NFL. And so it could be tough sledding for Barkley on the ground, but they've still been trying to get him the ball in the air. You look at Barkley, 3+ receptions in 5 of 6 games this year. The one game he didn't have 3+, he had 2 in that game. So they're getting the ball, and we know Saquon. He can make one guy miss, take a reception for 50 yards, 30 yards, for all I care. He can do that. And Saquon Barkley, you look at his receptions line, sitting at 3.5. About even value on most books. Sharper books actually love the over at -127. And Barkley, he's hit this over into 14 of 23 games with 3 or more receptions in his career. That would go hit the under, yet sharper books still like the over. Last week we saw the Colts just say, run game, get lost. We'll just throw the ball 900 times. And I don't necessarily think the Giants are going to do that. They're not throwing Daniel Jones 58 times. But still, we saw Deion Jackson, their backup running back, come in, 10 receptions, 79 yards. The Giants will see that, say, we can exploit them through the air to our running back. We've seen other guys hit this over. Austin Eckler, Nyheim Hines, Antonio Gibson, all of these guys easily hit this over. And then you look at a couple guys like J.D. McKissick, Miles Sanders, both didn't have a ton of receptions, both got to like 20 and 22 receiving yards. So they were both very close. We know Saquon, like I said, take a screen pass, he can break a couple tackles, take it up the field. He can easily get 30 yards on one pass. I think Saquon does a lot of his work on Sunday in the air. It's going to be his over 25.5 receiving yards. I'd probably play it up to 26, 27.5. Now, let's move on to my final player prop of the week. It's a team that is desperate for a win and a wide receiver that I think is going to get on the same page with his future Hall of Fame quarterback. His name's Allen Lazard. I'll take his over 49.5 receiving yards, -108 on FanDuel. Now, I'd be bold enough. I would have put this as a 1.5 unit play, but I don't want to lose 1.5 units on Allen Lazard. But I do think Allen Lazard has a good chance to get 70 or more receiving yards on Sunday. That would be +225 on FanDuel. Now, Lazard continues to see a ton of targets as the Packers' #1 wide receiver. We know Devontae Adams is in Las Vegas, but the last 3 weeks, 8, and 9 targets. He's clearly Aaron Rodgers' #1 guy, and I know Bob Tunyon got like 12 targets last week. That's not going to be something that continues, but over the last 2 weeks, well, let's talk about those 3 games. He had 116, 35, and 76 receiving yards. So hitting the over in 2 of the last 3. Now, him and Rodgers haven't been on the greatest of same pages the last 2 weeks. Only 8 receptions on 17 targets. So they should be able to get a go on Sunday against the Commanders' defense has really stunk. And Lazard's a guy that's going to get a lot of deep targets. He's not a guy that's going to normally run those like 3-yard routes and you're just like needing him to break tackles to get receiving yards. If he's getting receptions, they're normally 10, 15, 20-yard catches. And he has the capability to hit a 50-yard reception in this game, make this a no-sweat bet. I mean, you look at the Commanders' secondary, stanking it up. They've allowed 10 wide receivers to have 50-plus receiving yards first in the season. That included 2 Chicago Bears last week, and the Bears stink. Their passing game's anemic, and we had Justin Fields over in passing yards, and it was rough to watch. All 10 of those guys have hit 60-plus receiving yards versus Commander secondary. That's really been struggling. 60-plus for Lazard's +152 on FanDuel. Every single team that's faced the Commanders has had at least one wide receiver at 50 or more receiving yards. 4 of the 6 teams have had 2+, and ultimately it's going to be Allen Lazard and Romeo Doubs out there. They're playing like 99% of the snaps. We've got Sammy Watkins still injured, Christian Watson still injured, Randall Cobb now injured. Lazard's reception prop sitting at 4.5, which is roughly around +120 to -101 value. So it's still plus money more or less on the over, but Lazard's only had 5 receptions in 1 game this year, 1 of 5 games. So the fact that they're even putting it at 4.5 is a pretty good sign. Even if he only gets 4 receptions, he's hit this over in 11 of 16 career games with 4+ receptions. 3 of his 5 misses, he ended with 45, 45, and 42 receiving yards. And if he even gets up to 5+, he's hit the over in, I believe, 7 of 9 games with 5 or more receptions. So if he gets to 4, 5 receptions, I think he gets it done. He could also get it done on 1 reception. That's all. I don't really care how Lazard gets it done. We just need 50 receiving yards. I think he's capable of getting that done. Let's move on to Moneyline Parlay. And then we got an Underdog Parlay and that first touchdown score. Last week's Moneyline Parlay, yeah, no, it sucked. It was pretty bad. But that was a lot of upsets. Let's get a winner this week. We need to get back on track. I think we cashed out on week 4. Let's get a winner today. We got 4 legs +500. Cowboys, Colts, Bengals, and Packers. All on the money line, +500 on DraftKings. Sign me up. Let's only sprinkle on this. A Moneyline Parlay is arguably one of the hardest things to hit in the NFL in any major sport. And now the Cowboys taking on the Lions. Well, I think the Lions could cover this. I don't know if the Cowboys can afford to lose this game to the Lions. And while the Lions did have a bye week last week, Dak Prescott's back. I think their defense ultimately can win them this game against the Lions. The Lions, we know, don't play any defense. I'm going to skip the Colts for last. Now the Bengals taking on the Falcons. Falcons are cover wagons. They're the GOAT team in the NFL. Do they win cover against the Bengals? I don't think so. Could they cover? Maybe, but I think the Bengals do get it done at home. Then you got the Packers money line. I said they're searching for a win. They need a win. They can't afford to lose this game. They lose this game, Packers fans are going to be burning some cheese heads. I don't see them losing to Taylor Heineke and the Commanders. Maybe the Commanders cover, but I think the Packers do end up winning that one. And then the Colts. We skipped them over, but ultimately I look at this game. It could go either way. They're the underdog on this card, but the Colts can't afford really to go down 2-0 to the Titans, losing both games. Then they lose all tiebreakers. I think they want to try to even this up as best as they can. I know Matt Ryan is not, I don't love trusting Ryan Tannehill either. I think this is more of a coin flip. So you give me plus value on a coin flip for a team that kind of needs to win a little bit more. Obviously the Titans coming off a bye, they should probably win, but I think the Colts have a good chance of getting that done. It's a money line parlay. It's a dart throw in itself. Now, before I dive into my first touchdown score, promised an Underdog Fantasy Parlay, and here you go. Like I said at the top of the show, if you sign up using our code COS, get a 100% deposit match. It's free money. Take advantage of it. Shout out to all the people that have already used our code this NFL season. I appreciate you guys. You can get that deposit match. Now, I got 5 legs. $10 turns into $200. I'll put all 5 of them up on the screen, and we'll talk about each of them. Now, I don't need to talk about 3 of the legs. Saquon Barkley, Allen Lazard, Deebo Samuel. Their lines are roughly the same as what I took them on. You can scroll back in the video and see why I like them. Now, let's talk about Justin Tucker. 4 straight weeks has a kicker kicked 2 field goals versus the Browns. The problem is some of them have missed. I think 2 of those kickers did miss some field goals, didn't get it done. Tucker, we know, rarely ever misses. One of the most efficient, accurate kickers in NFL history. 2+ field goals, 3 straight games, and 2+ field goals in 9 of his last 14 games. Also 3 field goals in both matchups versus Cleveland last year. Hit this in 10 of his last 16 versus Cleveland, and 2 of the 6 misses, he missed a field goal in there. I don't see Tucker missing 2+ field goals. Go get it done. As for Ryan Suckup, well, the Buccaneers, they get to the red zone a lot. They just have really been struggling. Suckup has hit this over in 5 of 6 games this season. Panthers have a decent enough defense to kind of play some red zone defense, stop the Buccaneers offense, which has been struggling to score touchdowns. And like they're going to have the Bucs are going to have the ball a lot. This Panthers offense very anemic, might lead to some turnovers, short field position, end of 2-minute drives, all that sort of things. Suckup, I think he can get it done. 3 of 6 field goal kickers versus Carolina have hit this over. 2 of 3 that missed had 2+ field goal attempts. They just missed some field goal attempts. Suckup's pretty good, pretty talented, one of the better kickers in the league. So I think he can get it done. 5 legs, $10 to turn into $200. Look, sign me up. I'll put a little bit of a sprinkle on that one. And as always, sign up for Underdog Fantasy using code COS, and you get a 100% deposit match. Now, finally, what you've all been waiting for, a first touchdown score, Dolphins Steelers. These are a true dart throw. So as always, only sprinkle on them. We had a couple of bullseyes early on in the year. Let's get back to that momentum. And I'm going to be going with Tyreek Hill, plus 600. Now, Tyreek Hill hasn't scored a touchdown in 4 straight weeks. And I know he's not the biggest red zone target, arguably probably one of the smallest on the field, but he has the ability to take one to the house, and I think he could get that done. We look at the Steelers defense. Played way too well last week against the Buccaneers. This is a team that's really struggled defensively, especially in the secondary and on the ground. And I just think Tyreek Hill, he could beat them deep once. And I think that certainly is possible with Tua Tagovailoa back. They're in Miami. I think he's got a good chance. I also considered Mike Gesicki plus 1,500 on FanDuel. That's great value. I doubt it's plus 1,500 by kickoff, but he's the tallest receiver out there for the Dolphins in case they throw a jump ball. But I think it's Tyreek Hill's night. I think he gets it done. Plus 600. I'll sprinkle on it. But that's going to wrap it up. 4 player props, Moneyline Parlay, Underdog Parlay, Sunday, first night football, first touchdown score. Appreciate you guys. My 3 favorite spread picks for Sunday. You can go check out that video. It's popping up on the screen. I'd appreciate it if you go show some love to that video as well. We have a new sponsor in that one for ticket, in case you're ever interested in buying some tickets. So go check out that. Appreciate you guys always tuning in. See you guys in the other videos. I'm Austin, and I'm signing out. Peace.